Well, I think I'm reading some of your comments. For example, I think most people have the ability to be a narcissist. It's about controlling yourself and your effect on others. There's something about narcissists that we should all understand. The first, characteristic and most important characteristic of a narcissist is that they are made. A narcissist is not born. Okay, that is important to understand. You could have, for example, psychopaths are born, sociopaths are made, and psychopaths have all psychopaths are narcissists. That's another video I want to make about those topics, how to make the distinction. But narcissism is some kind of coping mechanism for things that happen when you were raised with your parents. Mostly, if you have had a narcissistic parents, it's most probably you're gonna learn to use narcissism to defend yourself from him or her, and it's something that you're gonna find that helps you, like controls the way you process your emotions. You're gonna like that. It's like you become a narcissist that way. You become dependent on your supply. You become dependent on the way people have a feedback on what you do. People have a feedback on your achievements, on your image, and a lot of things. It comes from a root, or the root, the source of this narcissism is self-esteem, right? Because the supply is simply trying to fill. The supply is the gasoline of the narcissist. The supply is the person to say that you're so cool, you're so intelligent, you're great, you are so handsome, you're so pretty, you are always so neat and tidy, you dress so well. That's the supply. The narcissists are always doing things, even trying to do what society could say good deeds just to get their supply, and that supply is trying to fill a void between inside them. There's a very, very insecure and low self-esteem. They think that they don't think that it's like an automatic reflex that they think that they need that approval from society, from an external source, and that's the definition of narcissists. I am not here to defend or talk about the possibility of a narcissist going to therapy and it's going to work, because there's no surefire or standard or let's say a therapy that I could recommend that it's going to work. I cannot say that. It's really a case-by-case basis. But when someone gets into a relationship with a narcissist, I always tell them to consider themselves first, because especially women, when a woman gets in a relationship with a narcissist, there's this, like, I don't like to call it savior complex, because it's not quite a savior complex per se in women, because it sounds like an illness or something bad. It's simply that women like people, right? They like helping people, like connecting with people, like bonding with people. That's women's superpower. So that's the first reaction when a woman realizes that she's in a relationship with a narcissist is, can I fix him? What can I do about it? Can I have him suggest therapy or something, or can he be fixed? And this is the wrong mindset, because you're trying to focus. That's in essence the first step of our journey today. It's like yes, we want to care and fix everything and nurture everyone. It's like that sentence is very interesting because in the case of women, when a woman says, I want to care and fix everything, a woman means people, all right? In the case of a man, we say that sentence, we want to care and fix everything, we mean processes, things, right? It's like our brains are wired in different ways, and that's cool because men focus on things, right, and processes, and women focus on people. And we men try to fix things and systems and processes, and women try to fix people. Of course, it could be overlap, and there are women that are very good at fixing things, and men that are very good at fixing people, so to speak. But is that masculine and feminine dynamic that happens, that is simply exists, all right? And we should not fight that. And that's one of the reasons that women tend to fall in the trap of narcissists. So they try to fix them. Now, in the first place, why do you keep attracting narcissists? And you cannot avoid. This is something that you have to understand. This is very important to realize. You're gonna always be surrounded by potential narcissists. And I mean potential not because they are not narcissists and they can become narcissists. I mean potential narcissists in the sense that they can harm you if you let them get into your circle. Alright? If you let them get inside your circle, they're gonna harm you, they're gonna hurt you. And that's what we're trying to talk about today. We do not let that happen. And how do you know which ones are narcissists and which ones are errant? That is a question. I want you to figure out this. That is a question that is projected outwards. Imagine you as a woman. I'm gonna talk as a woman. Most of my most of my audience, 85%, almost 90% are women. So I'm gonna talk to you as a woman. There are men listening to me. You just have to reverse the genders. There's absolutely nothing. There's a lot that you can apply. But I'm gonna talk to women because my audience is mainly 85, 90% women. And there's always this like way of thinking outwards about how do I know if a person is a narcissist. You're thinking outwards. You're trying to think about the person. How do you, if there's in their body language, if in the way they talk, in the way they act, the way they text, is there any signal that I can pick up with these people that I can tell that they're narcissists? This is the same that we ask the question, can I know that when someone is lying? Are there signs of lying? How do I make questions to make people contradict themselves and get them to like confess a lie? That's also an external question. You're focusing the problem as if the solution is external. How do I defend myself? How do I recognize a narcissist like walking on the street? And at first sight, you cannot do that. You can't do that. We were talking about this incel the other day, the one from the Plymouth shooting, and we were talking about his appearance, and there was no way from his appearance that we could say that he was a psychopath or anything. So that's the first step. That is like changing your mind about narcissists. And that's why I titled the live that way. Why do you keep attracting? Because it's something that you have to realize. It's not something that is something wrong with you or fundamentally wrong with you. In fact, it may be something that you're doing right with your life. You're doing things right, And because of that, you're attracting narcissists, okay? But I want you to understand that this phenomenon happens because something that is happening inside you, a process that is inside you, all right? And because it's a process that is internal to you, you cannot think or you cannot focus the problem as is how do you fix the narcissist? How do I fix my relationship, or how do I fix my man, or how do I fix my spouse? That is outwards thinking, and that is not going to work. No, it's not going to work by the simple fact. I understand that it might have sense to you. How do I fix the person that is beside me? But it doesn't work like that. And it doesn't work like that for anyone. It doesn't work like that for women, or doesn't work like that for men either. But the problem is that women want to know how can they fix people, and it makes sense. They feel, or you feel compelled to fix the narcissist in your life. Is there in a way? Is there in a therapy? You have to change that. You have to think about yourself first. And you have to think that there is nothing wrong with you. And that is something that is I have to make absolutely clear today. Many women think that because they attract narcissists is because there's something broken with them, there's something wrong with them, and there's something that they have to change. And this is wrong. This is wrong because it's precisely because you are doing things right. I'm going to tell you what are these things. It's precisely because you're doing certain things right that you're attracting narcissists. But I'm going to tell you, make a very interesting suggestion. What can you change? How can you frame this problem so you do not attract this kind of man, all right? So the thing that you're doing right, that is attracting this kind of people, is like being concerned, being worried, being empathetic with the sentiments, the emotions of other people. You like to connect with other people. You like to connect with their emotions. You like to understand. Sometimes you can even feel their feelings. You can even live what they're going through. You're very sensitive, and that's great. That's a superpower, and that's a superpower that women excel at it. Again, the masculine and the feminine. Men have a masculine and a feminine side. Women have a masculine and feminine side, and we just have a mixture of that. For example, I'm a very agreeable man, and that is not that masculine. That is more feminine. I don't like confrontations, and being confrontational is more of a masculine trait. But masculine trait, not in the sense that it defines your gender or not. It's like a term. It's like I always compare that with the yin and the yang. All right, the yin being the you remember this the symbol in Buddhism, in Tibetan cultures, that the yin yang, and the yin being the woman or the feminine, and the yang being the masculine, is like a dynamic between them. You have to focus that in that issue in that way. So I was telling you, you have to absolutely realize that you as a woman, if you connect with other people's emotions and like to be submerged, like drenched in that feeling of the other person, you like to connect emotionally with other person, that's your superpower. That's your feminine side superpower. All right, that is great. But that superpower has the downside, quote downside, that it attracts, that can let narcissists enter your life, because you connect with them. In fact, you connect with everyone. And maybe you have your doubts. But the problem is that these narcissists are, how to say that? All right, this is very important, this comment from Susan. So bringing out your opposite sex characteristics is really helpful. I had a mother wound and a father wound. I needed to heal them both. Yes, that is important. There's one book that explains that very, very good. That is Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. All right, that has one law of human nature is the masculine and the feminine, the dynamic that is between them. That is marvelous. Once you realize that we have both of them inside us, you can be more at ease and the way that you behave. Maybe there are women, maybe you are a woman and you are less agreeable than most women, and that's great. That helps you, like, have for example, that helps you, like, escalate positions in business, for example. This is just an example, and that is, for example, one of the reasons I never found myself comfortable with a business circumstance, a business among the corporate. I never liked that, because maybe I being a man, a highly agreeable man, and something like I wanted more like art. I wanted like be a therapist. I wanted to study people. In the sense, my passion is more like a feminine passion, because my passion is about people. All right, is so to speak. Again, the terms masculine and feminine is more like the dynamic between both traits. All right, it's very important to understand. So that connection that you make with people is really good, and it's really beneficial, both for family, for your friends, for your well-being, for your mental health. And you have to recognize that that's your superpower, and if you use it for good, that's great. It's important. The problem arises, and this is really critical, and I want you to pay attention to this. The problem arises when you think that connecting with people, all right, has been attracting narcissists, and they stay in your life, and it's really hard to get rid of them. And then you think that since you cannot fix them, because you have tried to fix them and you have failed, then you say the problem is me. And how did I attract them? Well, I connected with them emotionally. So the solution must be I should not connect with anyone, or I should be very careful with my emotion, or try to hide with it myself. But the problem is that a relationship with a narcissist is never a middle ground. It's always a love bomb. A love bomb is when a narcissist makes sure, and the first month and the first week of the relationship, they just are perfect, charismatic, like a dream come true. All right, it's a relationship that is a dream come true, and it's so shocking to lose that. Right, to be fooled, to feel that you were hurt so deep when everything ends, and you don't want it to happen, and you may overreact. Okay, it's like an allergic reaction. When you have an allergic reaction to something, you overreact. Your body is overreacting to a stimulus. Then you may overreact to your bad experience with the narcissist. Okay, and in that sense, you will try to not connect emotionally with anyone. That's gonna make you ill. You're gonna feel sick, physically ill with that, because you're going against your own value. That is connecting with people, feeling their emotions, knowing about them, what they're going through, what they went through in their lives. What can you do? How can you share your burden with them? How can they share your burden with you? That's okay. That's very good. But that is not the source of your problem. And that happens that's when you like flip a switch and enter a vicious circle. What is that vicious circle? The vicious circle is that you disconnect yourself from people in general. You are so hard deep within yourself. You feel so hard, so full. You feel like a fool, and you don't want to connect with people ever again. All right? It's like you have a hangover and you say, "I'm not gonna drinking again, ever." All right? And I'm not gonna love anyone ever. All right? And you enter in this phase of absolute uh, solitude, or you try to like push people away. Friends, family say, do you want to come out? I don't want to come out. Do you want to hang out here? Do you want to come over on Sunday? No, you just say no. It's like you isolate yourself, and that is not good, because you're going to the other extreme. And what happens is that at any moment you're gonna stumble upon another narcissist, and you're not gonna know that it's a narcissist. And we already know, we cannot tell by the appearance or the way they act, anything. And that narcissist is gonna make you feel really good for the first time in many, I don't know, months, sometimes even years. And what is gonna happen? That the wound that the first narcissist left is gonna be like it's like this cream for the wounds, this lotion for the wounds that make you heal. But it's not like that. It's like you're falling into the trap of another narcissist that's making you feel real good. Why? Because you were sure that's what you thought. You were sure that there was something wrong with yourself. There's something wrong with you. And this narcissist, this brand new person from out of nowhere, like it's the living embodiment, it's the proof that there's nothing wrong with you, because they want to love you, they want to feel you, want you to feel good, they want to spend time with you and do things with you. And it seems, at first it seems, right, that there is hope. And that's a problem. And that's one of the problems with certain kinds of men, and certain classifications of men. It has to do a bit with this incel community too. I don't like to mix topics, and I'm sorry if I'm not reading your comments now, and I'm trying to make my ideas chain them one after another. But the problem is, why can a normal good man just enter your life? And the simple reason is that a normal good man will not love bomb you, and it's not gonna push harder like a narcissist will. And once a narcissist has you in his sights, they will try and try and try and try over and over again, because you're like what's the term for that? It's like you're like the prey. Yeah, you're the prey. Okay, that is exactly, you are prey for them, and they will just stop at nothing. If you had a narcissistic ex, you know what I mean. All right, they spend sometimes years texting you from, I don't know, 2 or 3 months in between, just to see how are you. But it's not to see how are you. It's for you to notice how are them. They're very persistent. And thank you, girl next durable, for your super chat. Thank you very much. You know that narcissists are really persistent, and most men in this case, if they're a good man, maybe they won't be so pushy, and so, I don't know, try to force that bubble that you have. A narcissist will do anything to do that because he has you in his sights. He defined you as his prey, and he's gonna get you, right? And for that, they're gonna love bomb you. They're gonna find every single way to break your uh, defenses. And why do narcissists in general, know how to do this? Because most of the time they grew in a narcissistic family, had a narcissistic mother or father, and if they have to develop these abilities just to defend themselves, then they know how to detect when people like something, don't like something. They learn to read body language, social clues, emotions, everything, just to know what do people like and don't like. They have years of training inside of their families, all right. And in the case of men, and this is the problem, in the case of men, they have this like drive to use that power with women, right? Because maybe we don't have that connection. We don't have that connection, that emotional connection that women have with people. Because remember, women have this superpower of connecting better with people, and men, we have a better superpower of connecting with things and systems and process. All right, and that's product of evolution. And what happens then is that the narcissist spots, like, looks at the way you dress, looks at the way you talk, looks your body language, and it starts to spot what do you like, and start to know what can he bring to lure you inside his world. I'm not saying that good men don't do that, but maybe a good man, and I also don't like to use the term good man, because everything is it's maybe non-narcissistic man. That's a better term. Non-narcissistic men also do that, but maybe if you say, for example, maybe if you say, let's say, a hypothesis in the timeline, the line of time and space time. We have the space time. We're going to play with space time now. A man tells you or asks you out. Sorry. A man asks you out for next Saturday night, right? Easy. Next Saturday night. What do you think? Then you say you don't want to. You feel, I don't know, you want to stay home, you still really hurt by your prior relationship. You're not like much in the mood of going out, and you text them back, hey, you know what, we could do it some other time. All right. The non-narcissistic man will say, well, maybe we'll respect your boundary and say, all right, maybe some other time. Maybe, all right, there's no problem. And maybe, of course, maybe that non-narcissistic man will just ask another woman out. That's okay. But the narcissistic man, the narcissistic, will see it as a test. Okay, this is a test. This is like something that is to prove my abilities, and this I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this no as a challenge. That is the term, challenge. I'm gonna take this no as a challenge, and I'm gonna find a way. I know, love bombing, I'm making a clever. I'm gonna say, all right, we're gonna out this Saturday. Maybe today is Tuesday, and tomorrow I send you a meme about something that I know that is very important to you, or something that you like a lot. So you notice that I know what you want. I'm the narcissist, so to speak, and it's going to push in a bit more, trying a bit more, a couple times, 3 times, just because it sees that as a challenge. All right. And why does the narcissist sees that as a challenge? Because if you finally say yes, you're not directly saying that he's awesome or something. You're not giving him supply directly. But if you finally say yes, what he's looking for, that is indirect supply. I did it. I broke that no from her, and I made her go out with me next Saturday. I convinced her. And maybe you go out with a narcissist on Saturday, and it's going to be great, a great date, amazing conversation, and maybe it ends in amazing sex. Why not? But the problem is that they try a bit harder. They try a bit harder, but maybe not because they're really interested in you, but because they see as a challenge for themselves. And this is a kind of, there's all kind of narcissists, because incels, this involuntary celibates, this men that do not have a girlfriend, they claim that they don't have a girlfriend because they're looking for the perfect woman, and no woman notices them when it's false, because women notice them, even reach out to them, and they think that women are just playing with them. They resent the man that really push and try, and in the end end up saying, that incels, this man, this subgroup of men say, hey, women, I asked this woman out, and she said no, and I'm trying to respect her boundaries. But I know of another man who just tried 2 times, 3 times, and she finally went out with him. All right, let's make it clear. I'm not justifying attitudes of incels, and I'm not just saying that you are responsible for what the incel feels. Remember what we told earlier in this live, that you have absolutely no saying or no responsibility of how to fix other people, anyone. The most important person is always you. First you. That's not open to debate. That's not negotiable, right? So if the incel begins resenting women because he says that, hey, I'm the nice guy. And I respect women's boundaries, but women's love jerks. That is a myth, and that's a great topic for another live. I'm tired of reading that, excuse me the word, that shit everywhere. Women love jerks. No, women love decisive men that can make decisions. Women love men that can make decisions, and a narcissist make decisions just because they see you as a challenge. I have to make her do this so I feel good. That's what's going on in the mind of a narcissist. And you look at it outside their mind, and you look at a very decisive man, a man even secure, it's like confident in himself. When inside, it's the most insecure man that you can imagine, because they're doing everything just to feel good, that you agreed to go out with him, that you complimented them in because of their looks, or they were brilliant, or they could get that table on that restaurant, all that sort of things. So it's really messed up, and I'm trying to organize my ideas here, because in this way of focusing this problem, because I see too many women that focus them in the sense that there's a problem with me, and no, there's most probably there's not a problem with you. Sometimes it's possible that you grew in a household where your father was a narcissist and your mother was the empath or the enabler or the one who just went with that. That is dangerous because the format or the template or the example that you had as a relationship, as a family, as a husband and wife was wrong from the start, and that's what you got. That's what you learn. Of course, you can see other families, and that's sometimes the problem when we don't have access to, or we don't have too many friends, or we cannot compare with, or all the family lives very separated from each other. Your cousins or your friends, don't have many friends because you don't have many friends or many families to compare you to them. For example, maybe you have three close friends and you're going to your friends' houses, and maybe two of your friends, it's perfectly possible, their parents are divorced, so you don't have really an idea of how to see a verily functional family. And maybe one of your friends have a functional family, but they're dysfunctional in some ways, and you still don't like it, so you don't have a real reference of what it looks like. And it seems like every functional family that you see in the movies, on the series, you say, well, that's fiction, that is a book, or that's a movie, and in the real life everything is messed up, and it's not like that. But the problem is that you got that view because it's your experience. That is one way. That is not that you are messed up or you are broken. It's that you have a distorted way of appreciating or facing relationships. And that is something that you should think about. You should always think about it. I always tell you that you should find times of solitude, that you should think about yourself, think about your upbringing, have a journal. A journal is very important to have. Always be writing. How do you feel? Be trying to remember your family, how they treated you, how was your upbringing, how do you react to things, how do you process your emotions. That is very important because you lose track of it. You lose track of many topics, and those topics, your emotions, are the most important topics of your life because they help you keep track of your relationships, keep track of your emotions, keep track of your relationships with your family too, and helps you have a better understanding of what are the patterns and you're falling into, and you're just stumbling over and over again. And that is really, really important. Girl, next durable, thanks again. Some other time, will you please do a live and dissect the term empath? I keep hearing it and it sounds like baloney. Right. Yes, empath is like it's like a person that can connect with others. We can feel and their sentiments. They can connect with their feelings. They can make that empathy bridge. And this is not only women. Women have a better way to, an easier way doing it, because they've been doing it for I don't know, millions of years, so to speak. You have to understand that since a lot of time, say 100,000 years ago, there was a very, very basic distinction between men and women. I mean, women had to nurture, like raise the children, and men, we had to go hunting for food. And what's different, because it was so important, the bonding of the child, of the babies with the mother. And there was this so long time of months and years that a baby needed with their mother to develop that bonding. And what's our responsibility, the man's responsibility to go and hunt food or forage food or do something or try to do something. So that's why we developed that way of thinking of things, of process, of systems, right? How to hunt more efficiently, how to like find food more efficiently, find water more efficiently. And language, in fact, language was developed mainly by women because women were reunited. Women of the tribe were reunited, raising the children all at the same time. You can imagine that they were like uh, 20, 25 families, maybe 20 families. 20 families is great. 20 families in a tribe, and the women were all raising the children, and they were spending all day together, and they have a much more an easier way of developing, a much more opportunity to develop language, more emotional language, bonding with children, bonding with the other women, and that's how language was developed. In that sense, we men, our way of using the language was much more limited, was much more to the point, and that's why you see so many jokes about men who go fishing for the weekend, and when the man goes back to home when from the weekend fishing with his friends, the wife asks, and what did you talk about? Did you ask Freddie about her mother that she has diabetes or something? No, I did not ask him about that. And did you ask Alex about his daughter that isn't she got accepted into college? I know that. No, I did not ask him any. What did you talk about? Says the wife, and that's a recurring joke, and that's real life. We can talk about for hours, and women are baffled because they do not understand what do we talk about for so long, and we do not ask any questions about bonds. All right, how's your sister? How are your children? It's really uncommon. We talk about systems. We talk about things. We talk about process. So that's a big difference, and that's why women are so prone to connect emotionally with other people, and that's something that is really important that you understand that. All right, this is a very funny name, Cactus Ass. Thanks, Cactus, for your super chat. Do you think women that have borderline personality disorder are more likely to attract someone that is high on the narcissistic scale? I should make some research on that before answering. I would like to study more about that because I can't say that I can make that connection as of now. But what I do know, if that you have borderline personality disorder, you have an unbalance. You are not balanced, so to speak, and you have this part of your personality that needs work. And the easiest, so to speak, way to make it work without working it yourself is just plugging a relationship to someone that makes you feel good. All right? And if you have a problem, if you are not balanced, your personality is not balanced, it's much more likely, and that could make sense. And I don't want to say yes, that women with borderline personality disorder attract narcissists easily. I don't want to say yes, but I know that if you are hurt, it's more likely that you will attract a person that is a bit more insistent, that wants to find out how to break you from your point of view in a good way, like love bomb you, make you feel good. And now that is important that we get to that point, right? This is all right. This is important. Charissa is also a regular. I should try to make Charissa. I'm gonna try to make Charissa Let me see, a moderator to see what happens. Charissa's moderator. Charissa is regular here. She's made quite a few comments. I trust that she can do a good job. And Charissa says, essentially, you have to realize he used mind control tactics to destroy any sense of independence in you, so you wouldn't live. Taking your weaknesses and made you feel like you're next. All right, this is important here. These lies will take time to heal because of the trauma bonds. Your already broken identity. That is really hard. There is something that is you fall into this vicious circle, and the problem is how do you identify a narcissist before he begins to really harm you? And it's a bit easy to identify. A narcissist is always made. Already stated that. So a narcissist is one kind of a sociopath, and we know that sociopaths are not that. Let's say they don't have that much patience. All right, that's important. The worst case scenario is that you get involved with a psychopath. All right. Because we already said that every psychopath is a narcissist. And since every psychopath is a narcissist, there is the possibility that you attract one. All right? Those are the really dangerous. But let's say that you don't attract a psychopath, but a sociopath. One that is made, not born. I'm going to make that difference in another life. And one thing is that they don't have this much patience. And this is important because you see that the narcissist that doesn't have much patience, they love bomb you. They send you texts. They find ways to you to feel real good. It's an exquisite frequency of the text. It's not too much. It's not too low. It's like they know how to treat you the way you want to be treated. And that would be great if it was a relationship that actually worked. But how do you detect that they're narcissists? The problem is that they will try to suggest things that they want to do. And this is really important. That's most of the things of the narcissist will agree to do will revolve or will be focused about them. All right? So for example, if it's going out with friends, he will favor or he will try to be with his friends. And then, so you come out with friends, but it's with his friends, not your friends, or maybe even his family, not your family, or his hobbies, not your hobbies, or his favorite food, not your favorite food. It will be really hard at first, okay? It will really hard at first because he will relinquish some of that supply that he wants to get by just making you feel good. And when you feel good, you will lower your defenses that are already lower if you already had a narcissistic relationship. That's what I want you to understand, that this is a vicious circle, and women keep attracting narcissists because they fall in this vicious circle. That first narcissist, it's great, feels great, then makes them feel really bad. Then they have to survive that. Then they feel really bad for a long time. They question their own feelings. They question their own way to look at the world, look at the relationship. Then find someone that it's charming and then great, and they end up in another narcissistic relationship because narcissists are the ones that see you as a challenge and then try to push you and try to like make you get out of that bubble to enter in theirs. That is really important. They don't really care about your feelings. They just want their supply. They want praise. They want, maybe you are like a trophy to them too. Okay, they want to show, they want society, they want to show you in society, just as a trophy. They want sex, of course, and it's all these characteristics. You have to notice when there's not like an equilibrium or a balance in the relationship. There's always about them. They're always drawing into their life, and there's other kind of signals like subtle gaslighting. For example, if at any moment you feel in some way, if they try to neutralize the way you feel, like, you don't have to feel that way. It's silly that you feel like that. You don't have to feel like that. Sentences like that try to neutralize the way you feel. That's important to notice, because they're trying to, they are really bored about your feelings. They don't like that. They want to talk about their feelings. They want to talk about their achievements. They want to talk about their struggle, their everything. Okay, and the moment that you try to open up, that you try to be vulnerable, they will try to deflect the topic or try to focus back on them, or at the very least, away from your needs, your emotional needs. Okay, so that's important. Do I feel good? You can ask yourself this question. Do I feel good only at certain moments, but I feel forced to do things sometimes when I don't really like that, because it's like an exchange? Maybe you feel that it's like an exchange because he acts so charming, so perfect, so everything, that you just, hey, the least that I could do is to give in. And that's very dangerous, because that's exactly what he wants. He wants to control your free will. He doesn't want you to have free will. He wants to neutralize you by gaslighting, by neglecting your emotions, by making you guilty at times at all that I have done for the relationship, and you keep doing all this to sabotage. There's another sentence that you can like hear, and you will like wonder, what have I done to sabotage that? It's not. It's just a copy pasted sentence. They just say that, so you begin to wonder, what did I do to sabotage the relationship? And maybe if you ask them, hey, you said the other day that I have sabotaged the relationship, what did you mean? They will answer vaguely, like, you're telling me that they'll be so cynical that you're telling me that you need me to explain. Do you really need me to explain? Do you really need me to go through all that again so you understand? That is so what it will be the word. That is so, I don't remember that word. Let me recall that. I will be so egoistical of you. Yes, they can manipulate you that way just to neutralize your emotions. And you will notice, and this is very important, that's why I repeat over and over again. Girls, beautiful body language bodies, this is free. This solution is free. You do not need to watch my lives, or do not need to buy any book, or do not need to maybe even go to therapy if you don't really need that, or you don't need to watch a movie or anything. You just have to write your emotions. That's all you have to do. It's free. It's absolutely free. It's nothing to that. You only need 10-15 minutes a day that will be wonders for your life. You have a better perspective having a journal of your day, and especially how do you process the feelings of what happens every day. I have a better bird's eye view of if you're changing, if your relationship is changing, if you are like giving in more and more, like surrendering your free will to a man. This is extremely important. It has absolutely nothing to it. It's just plain journaling. I would say I thought of creating like a guided journal. Please, if you think like that a guided journal, I plan of making like a journal of how do I say that? Like a journal. If you would like a journal that leads you for 365 days, like I'm guiding you for 365 days. That's something that I thought. And you have a journal with my guidance, like with sentences, phrases, encouraging sentence too. Well, let me know in the comments. I will really like to know if you'd like a project like that. It will be like a book, but a book like it will be mostly with blank pages, so you can journal on that and in a frequency. And for example, when you have journal in the 30th day, you have 30 days journaling. It will be really great if you can jump back to the second or third day and read your emotions there. It's like going back in time and seeing yourself and watching yourself back in time. And that's the idea. There's nothing more to it. It's incredibly simple. How simple is that idea? And people do not do that. And it's absolutely critical. We forget the way we process emotions. We forget the way we have felt with our partners. And it's important in both ways, not only the bad things, but also the good things. Because maybe you have a healthy relationship, but every relationship takes time, takes hard work. There's no doubt about it. You have to put energy into it. You have to put energy to make it work. And sometimes you just want to be at each other's throats. I understand that too. But precisely, if you have times, you have days when you had emotional victories, so to speak, or you felt really connected and you felt like this was the person that you wanted to spend your life with, even if today you wanted to just strangle them, or right, maybe you can remember those moments and have a better perspective. And it's like being an accountant. You begin adding the good things and the bad things and the neutral things and the interesting things and the outlier things, and begin to have a better understanding of your emotions and your relationship. I think I should do a project like that, like how to guide you for 365 days, and maybe I could start it this year. This is important. Cream peonies. So true. This is great advice. However, I'd have to record it in my phone. Don't trust leaving journals hanging around. Yes, your journal should be absolutely private. And if you're gonna use your phone, it should be a secure app, or something that people can, even if they have access to your phone, you need a secure app that has a second layer of security, and people with an extra password. Because the idea of this journal is to literally pour your feelings into it, unfiltered. All right. And I know because every human being is like this. Sometimes you will come up with feelings and thoughts that you, in your mind, you might want to censor, like erase that. I should not be thinking that. And you will realize, who am I talking to? I'm alone here. I'm inside my mind. If I feel something, if I want to express that, it's important. I always prefer that to be in like pen and paper. It will be even greater if it can be digital, but with a digital pen, because writing, the act of bringing the writing act is something totally different than writing on a keyboard or writing on a mobile phone. I cannot explain that, but it is totally different. The connection between your mind, your emotions, and the way it flows into your written words. But be very careful that journal should have literally how you feel. And if you do not feel uncomfortable writing what you feel in that journal, it's because you're not being sincere enough with yourself. Absolutely no one should read that. It must be hidden at all costs from anyone. No one will not know it besides you. And it's not something like you can write it and burn it, or burn it after reading. It doesn't work like that, because you need to see that progress. You need to watch that progress. In this case, how that this a journal for 6 months, read everything, and then shredded everything. Very cleansing moment. I'm thinking there should be a hybrid between them. Maybe you write on paper, all right, and this app to have a track of your journaling, like allows you to take a picture of your writing, so you can pour your feelings writing them, but then you can store them digitally and then burn what you just wrote, but because it's already stored digitally. So you can have the best of both worlds in that sense. You have no idea of how therapeutic can this be, and how to assess the process itself of a relationship, both for good and both for bad, so to speak, right? Maybe this works. I sometimes use a smiley when I do not feel comfortable writing the actual words. I my journal. In fact, I started creating at some point my own words and sentences, like my own language, like so I could write what I knew was my language, and no one could be able to read it. But it was a bit unpractical. But yes, it's important. So that's the reason why, and that's the name of this video. I'm gonna it's gonna get tiresome. No one's going to my Patreon. I would like you to tell you that I have. I know that you go to my Patreon, you're gonna see that I have you just 2 patrons. You want to support me, you can, of course, go here in your super chats. I'm really grateful for your super chats. If you want to support me too, you can you go to my Patreon, where you can become a patron, and there's a link in the description below. and it will be really helpful because I'm really like not willing is not the word. I'm decided to make this full time, make this the edited videos and the live videos. I'm decided to make this literally my life, so to speak. I don't like to see it as a job. There's so many things I will like to open up with you, and the way I see life and the way I see uh, how do you bring value to the world. That seeing that this is my job, I don't like to say it like that because the job has a connotation. The word has a connotation that I really don't think that it expresses the way that I see this process. And yes, technology has given us this great opportunity to have um, this connection. And if you want, yes, you can support me on Patreon or joining my YouTube channel is another option. You can become a member. Beside the subscribe button here in YouTube, you have a join button, and you can become a member. Thanks, Ajeda. And if you're on Twitch, you can go to my Patreon too. Or you're on Facebook, you can go to my Patreon too. And yes, that will help me a lot because this is something that there's a point in your life, and this is something that I want to open up, like personally at this point. There's a point in your life that you say that there's no turning back, right? You say that, well, this is what I want to do. I don't know if the rest of my life, I don't know if in 20 years I will be liking to do this. Most probably yes, because I've been feeling really good, and I've been really pleased on the way, especially the last videos, last edited videos come up. Yesterday's video I liked a lot about how to. This is how a psychopath looks like. I was yesterday's video. Trisha, how are you? Was expecting you to be here. Yes, my calling. Absolutely, this is my calling. This is something that I always have framed or focused in so many ways. For example, it's like one of the topics. I've been a teacher of many topics. You already know that I have many interests. I'm very interested in art. And one of the greatest topics that I really miss is teaching conceptual drawing, architectural drawing, industrial design drawing. I don't know if any of you, for any chance, is there any of my students here. It's something that I felt like was liberating, but even if it was teaching drawing, I found ways of upgrading or making people see things about themselves through drawing that I don't know. I think that was more important than the drawing itself. I taught English too, and I thought that it was more important people to understand the phenomenon of a cultural phenomenon of learning a language, that learning the language itself, because I knew that I couldn't teach them English per se. I couldn't. In fact, that's some kind of a mystical belief that I have from my teaching side. I cannot teach you anything. The only thing that I can do is to, one, entertain you. I think that's the most important thing. I must be entertaining. That is my duty. I must be entertaining. And the second and most important thing is that I must nurture your hunger for knowledge. But more than the plain hunger of knowledge, that's something that I told myself many years ago. if your curiosity within yourself. That I think I always try to define what is my calling, what is my passion, what am I good at. I like writing. I love, absolutely love drawing and painting and illustration and any and I also work with 3D modeling. You know that I love editing too. Um, I'm a huge fan of movies. You know it, all the movie references on my videos. But what I always realize that there's always this common, like, how to say that? This common trope. Now that we are talking about movies, that movie, TV, and movie tropes, like the a common trope is the chosen one. The chosen one is a TV trope. Well, there's this trope. My trope has always been you learn something about yourself. That's the most important thing, and you learn to discover something about you. That's it, and that's why I got so interested in in philosophy. Please show us some of your work, Jesus. I have an Instagram account. I don't know how to put it here, but I promise the next time I maybe I look for some of my drawings. I don't have many of them were physical, and many of them do not exist anymore. But I promise that I could make some new. Um, I am an artist, and it's essential to my well-being. That's important. That's really important, Patricia. Um, I think everyone is an artist in some way. For example, if you're a lawyer, if you're a trial lawyer, you're an artist because you have to be an artist of public speaking, right? That's an art. Public speaking is an art. If you're a trial lawyer, that's an art. If you, I think there's art in every place. Of course, we artists, we express ways a bit different, maybe a bit more pure. We know that, for example, Schopenhauer said that he was right, that music was the purest art form because it is not based on anything of nature. It is art in itself. Classical music is the best example. I have a favorite artist, and I must say that I've been like a traitor, so to speak, to his legacy. My favorite artist is MC Esca. I don't know if that's I never knew if that's the right pronunciation. I'm gonna look for one of these words. Gonna look for one of his works, and I'm gonna tell you about what I find so fascinating. One of the most, let me see, I have an image in new tab, this one, and I can just change here. Alright, MC Esther. This is my favorite artist of all time, of every genre, of all. MC Esther. It's a way. It's a little disturbing. It's a bit like wacky. But I define myself. I define my mind. I always felt that my mind is just like that. It's like just like that. That's a lithography, I believe. And Escher. Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. I believe that I believe that I never listened to someone saying the name. I always read that, so that's Escher. Escher. Thank you, Patricia. That's a years long struggle with that. I never really look for the actual pronunciation, but This is something, and I feel that like a traitor because I've always been fascinated by his works, and I'm gonna change here to look for another. My favorite uh, work of him. I don't know how to look for it. What's this one? This one. Let me see. This for me is absolute genius. Let me see if I can find a version that looks. I think this version looks quite well. Open image, new tab. I don't know if you can be able to look at that. Okay, if you can. It's like you have the same scene. Like you have this scene, right? But once you go down the drawing, you see that at the same time the floor on this scene is at the same time the ceiling of the same scene look from a different perspective. That is amazing. That for me, I could look at this for hours, and since I was a teenager, I looked at his art, and I tried to do many things that resemble this. And what is sad about that is that I stopped. I stopped a long time ago, many decades I have to say ago. I stopped trying, and that's what I say. I am a traitor because, yeah, that's one of the problems of trying to be absolutely free, so to speak. You want to be absolutely free. Absolutely free is willing to do or being able to do whatever, especially whatever you do. But there's this conflict inside me sometimes that I would like to dedicate myself to drawing, but at this point of my life, I know that I'm going to. This is a breakthrough that I have to make. At this point of my life, I have like this turmoil in my mind that doesn't let me just sit down and produce and draw. There's something that I would like to do. There's something. Sometimes I'm doing body language annotations, and I begin creating very crude perspectives and scribbling over them. But it's this that like I would love to reveal more about this stage of my life. But this is the kind of things that I prefer to say face to face. It's not having records that turn out the microphones. That's why a meetup will be great, so we can face to face, no microphones, no cameras, no nothing, and I could open up a bit myself. I think it will be better for that. I think it's not the topic or the theme or the subject of the channel to be talking personally about me. I think there are moments for that, but at this moment I don't have. My mind is absolutely turmoil, and I don't have I have the time, but I don't have the disposition, because I think I need to, let's say, struggle a bit with certain projects and certain responsibilities I have. Maybe you can imagine that I have responsibilities, and you might have guessed by my age, about a family, etc. And that makes me like be aware that I need at this point of my life be focused on the most impactful way, whatever that I can do. I could be drawing, of course. I could be writing. I like writing a lot. I like to express and craft words and create universe. I like to write in fiction. I haven't published anything in fiction yet. plan doing it sometime. Any kind of fiction. There are two main topics that I like writing that in. There are dystopian futures like Blade Runner, and some lighthearted or a bit steamy erotica. That's something that is in my ballpark. I've written a lot. I have a pseudonym here and there. You want to read it, you just have to contact me. I'm not gonna give you those links easily, but I have all these facets that I think that humans should have the privilege. That's a real privilege. That is being really lucky to be able to explore this artistic facets, this creativity that is inside of all of us. And what is so sad is that we sometimes feel trapped in a route. And that is one of the reasons I have this, like, I really love doing these spaces, because they help me free out a bit of that tension that I can't do it with, because I cannot draw, have the serenity to sit down and draw and paint and illustrate. And I would like to sculpt too. I would like to be a sculptor too at some point of my time. At this moment is a critical point of my life that I don't have that luxury. And if you ask me, for example, what is real luxury for me, it's not a yacht or a sports car. It would be nice to rent one of those things and spend a weekend. We were talking about this, about throwing a party, so to speak, in let me see. Oh my God, full history. Going somewhere to share, to have a formal meetup in a Scottish castle. I don't remember, it was, yeah, both with this one. A body language buddy told me that this would be a nice one. Both with castle. We should meet up here sometime in Scotland. Really organizing, I don't know, an event, to talk about body language, to analyze, to have a personal meeting. I think that personal meetings are really important. There's so many things that you can talk person to person that you simply cannot do with a text, simply cannot do with a live, with a video, with a phone call. There's some things that are just meant to be spoken personally, and this looks like a really nice place. Really nice place to organize something. That is a dream that I have. That I have a meeting in a castle. It could be literally anywhere. If you, for example, if I would like to go to London. If I go to London and you tell me, hey, just let's meet up in, I don't know, in at this place, and I don't know, then that we can meet. It would be great. Or in Warsaw and Poland, or any city. I would really like, once we have a bit more flexibility with traveling, I would like to touch up in your cities. I've asked you, where are you from? I know they have a lot of that is in the U.S. and in Mexico and in Spain, in the U.K. and Australia. Will be really nice, and that's important. And this is like opening this personal part of myself, because that's one of the things that we are always struggling, because life is a struggle, and that's beautiful, because in solving that struggle and overcoming that struggle is that we find beauty. All right. The problem is when you have this struggle and you try to find the solution to that struggle, an external person or an external, something that is external to you, That's why you will not find happiness, so to speak, on an external stimulus. And by the way, the term happiness is a term that I don't like to use much, because sometimes you're happy in one moment and you just fades away a couple hours later. And that happens a lot. It's just a fleeting emotion. But instead, for those of you that have read my emails and reach out to me, um, thanks, Cats in Hats, a very cute avatar, for your super chat. Uh, it's like we have this struggle. We should not look for external ways to fix it, so to speak. We are not gonna fix the struggle. We're just gonna overcome it and keep struggling. It's like the struggle is like a wave that you ride to go to always to a better place, But it takes energy, it takes effort, it takes pain sometimes, and you should look inside what is going on. And I have this struggle. I'm sharing it with you. I would like to. It will be a luxury for me to dedicate myself to my art. I cannot do that now. I have to. At this moment, for example, and it's a struggle that many people have in this moment of humanity, is how to make money in a stable, have a stable income in this uncertain times. And I've been really lucky, extremely lucky. It's just like last second save lucky to have been able to create this community, to nail at some way the videos in YouTube, because YouTube is, in my case, what helped me in this. That's why I tell you that I have a complicated relationship with YouTube, because I know there are certain topics that I have to tiptoe around, and that I cannot mess up with the algorithm gods and so to speak. But I always think a bit about it, and I realize that that's not my main interest into messing up with the algorithm gods, because this is what I want to show you, that we all have struggles, we all have these facets of our lives, that it's like being inside a castle, and it's like being inside a video game, that you're inside a castle and have all these rooms that are locked, that you stumble upon a door that needs a blue key, and you want to find that blue key to know what's behind that door. But most people don't even bother to explore their own castle. Thank you, Iridescent Peace, for the super chat. Thanks a lot. Most people just want to go and explore the castles of other people, or just just keep staring or comparing their castle to other people, and never really find out everywhere they can go within their own castle, the towers, the dungeons, the garden, the main hall. It's so romantic, the idea that there's so many aspects of our lives that are not explored yet, and it's an amazing adventure. And I always have this relationship with video games. I absolutely love video games. I once was really attached. I had this problem of having the name is addicted. I have video game addiction, but at the same time I managed to overcome that addiction, and at the same time realize how all the benefits that video games can bring you. The certain video games, I think you can learn from every video game. And I have, for example, a project. I have this project here. I have all the chapters laid out. That is called All the Lessons I Learned from Video Games. All right? And you might say, why haven't you written that book yet. All the lessons that I learned from video games will be a, it's something that helped me a lot. It's literally the sometimes you have to sacrifice or put something at pause for another thing. And for example, in this case, this is the way that I think that it's the best way that I can make the most impact in the world. Here is Veronica here. Hello, Veronica. Veronica's good friend, always hanging around my lives. I hang out with hers. I'm trying to make Veronica a moderator too. She deserves it. She never misses uh, my lives. I'm gonna try that now. So I want that. Should be really quick. Add moderator. Yes, she's a moderator now. It will be much easier now. Thanks, Veronica. Hanging out here. Yes, I don't really divorce video games. It's like I came to a mutual agreement. I really can enjoy video games now because I know all the lessons I learned from them, and I can enjoy them responsibly. But then there are I have a book on video games. I have a fiction. There's this character of a private detective from the future who has a mechanical arm and he solves mysteries through body language. It sounds like sounds something like you. Sounds similar. Sounds rings a bell. A detective that solves cases by body language and stuff, but it's from the future, from that dystopian future. That's a story that I have outlined. I like writing erotica stories too. Writing, but so many things that I just have to pause. All right. And at the same time, I'm really enjoying this. You know, you know it. You feel it. You can feel when I do a video, and you can feel that I'm enjoying that, and I'm expecting, and I'm thinking about your face when you get the punchline of a joke, of you realize that you learned something about talking about show business. That show business can be so shallow, and it's another way of trying to make a proof that you can learn something from anything, even from show business. That it can be like I don't know. That can be so. What does it matter? There's so many things. I get that said a lot. So many things happening in the world. Why do you choose to with what's going on in Afghanistan? Why do they choose to talk about Erica Jane from The Real Housewife of Beverly Hills? And I'll say that, well, first of all, that's not a controversial topic. You know my relationship with YouTube has a lot to do with that. And at the same time, it makes it a lot easier to illustrate points that you can use, and we can have a good time. I can insert jokes and everything. If it's politics, if it's things, tragedies going in the world, I could not be able to insert a joke. Even when I'm talking about serial killers, I did it in Spanish. I had a couple videos of serial killers, and it was draining because it has been talked about them so many times in the same ways, and I need to put some entertaining feature or part or something, because I know that's something that put a smile in your face, and I know that if someone smiles, they're going to absorb much better what I'm saying. And I told you earlier, I cannot teach you anything. I'm a teacher. I think I'm a teacher or many things. I can teach you drawing too, but I can really not teach you. I can't really teach you anything. All that I can give you is the insights to find in yourself, in you, the spark to start that journey. It's a way, it's a metaphysical way, it's a philosophical way of teaching. You too can teach better than any teacher in the world. Teachers, a real teacher, what really does is a spark, is find that seed within you, and you realize that what you're looking for, that you want to learn dancing, you want to learn singing, you want to learn, I don't know, pottery, you want to learn, I don't know, drawing, painting. The most important thing is finding that seed inside you, because you know how hard it is when you try to learn something and you really don't care, you couldn't care less, you're not gonna learn. If you learn, it's like in the college, you have those courses in college, and you say, I'm gonna study this, I'm gonna be very good at this, I'm gonna do the test, and once do the final test, I'm gonna just mentally dump all the content, and I forgot that. And it happened to me with mathematics too. In college, I was very good. I was at top level. I presented the last the final test, and it's like I went out the door and recycle bin. Forgot about that. I'm not gonna need it. And no, I didn't need any anymore. And that's important. But no one can tell you what do you have inside. What is that seed that you have inside? All we can do as teachers is flirt with that seed you have inside to see if it vibrates in any way, if it awakes in any way. It's something really interesting. It's my way. I cannot really teach you anything. That's my philosophy. Maybe other teachers. I'm absolutely sure that any other teacher says they do teach, they do show things, but I can show you things that you can show you like tricks and tips, and you can download my body language tips. But my real goal is that how do I make for example Veronica interested in human behavior, because I find this it happens to me a lot that I'm interested in so many topics. And I know that some of you have tried to look at the books that I have on my back, the books that I have in my background, and I really don't have that much physical books. And some of you know that I'm nomad, I'm semi-nomad, and I'm jumping from city to city. I cannot bring many books with me, but I have literally thousands. This is the best solution for that. I know that sometimes I talk bad about phones. This times I have to talk very good about phones, because I have literally thousands, all my library, thousands of books I have in my phone, and I'm really interested of making connections between topics and just trying to present them in a way that just spark that. And I sometimes find a bit like difficult, really difficult to keep myself inside this topic of body language. And it was a gamble to name my channel the Body Language Guy, because body language is just one aspect of human behavior, a very, if you say so, a tiny subset of human behavior. But people are interested in body language, and in some way I'm trying to persuade you, talking about the body language of Meghan Markle, and everyone comes to see what did Meghan Markle do now. All right, but then I grab your attention like that, and I try to make you think, and I entertain you. Very important, entertain you. That's critical for me. And try to make questions about yourself. I think that's something that I do. That is really hard for me. Has been really extremely hard for me to find or understand my so-called passion or my calling or my purpose, because when I think that I found that, and I remember that in uh, 2018, for example, I said I want to write books and nothing else. And I know now that I want to write books, but I want to do so many other things too. One of the things, for example, is in that art, same artist, and have been a musician myself. I would like to have like a studio with every kind of instrument, or guitars, basses, drums, keyboards, and I love every kind of instrument. I love to. That requires time. That requires energy. You could have, I could win the lottery. I could have it in 1 month after I win the lottery. But to enjoy that, I will need time and energy. And that is another a struggle that we all have. We all have limited time, and this is another topic. I know that these lives last like 1 hour and a half. I will always take a bit more time. Um, uh, I began rambling, but I cannot tell you how important it is to realize that your time is limited. Your minutes are limited, and sometimes you have to make a decision. Sometimes you may have to make sacrifices, and sometimes the most important thing, the most important thing is you have to know why are you making those sacrifices. What is the reason? And the reason is not because some textbook tells you to do so. The reason is not because some dogma tells you to do so. The reason is not that some society tells you to do so. The reason is it's inside yourself. All right? The reason for your sacrifices is inside yourself. And we began this live talking about narcissists, and it's like sometimes narcissists are very, very troubled people, but they think that they don't even have a castle, so to speak. So they just look for that supply to live in another castle, to have experience with other people, to get those compliments from other people, and that's a really draining and sad way to live. So if you're listening to me now, and you have a clue that you're not a narcissist, or even if you don't have a clue that you're a narcissist, in either way, you should be aware that your limited time leads to making sacrifices. And if you want those sacrifices to make sense for you, you don't have to study any book. You don't have to listen to any wise man. You don't have to nothing. You just have to ask the question to yourself. You have to know yourself, and no one can do it but you. That this is. I know that this is really vague. It looks like a Pai Mei. I always joke, make memes about Pai Mei, the Pai Mei of Kill Bill. I love Tarantino movies, by the way. It sounds a lot metaphysical, but I don't know how to put it to like that spark in you, because this is really important. This is more important than anything that I could tell you. This is really critical, because let's see that there's two scenarios. Okay, let's contemplate two scenarios. You have just one life. Okay, that's one scenario. Or you have multiple lives, right? You end this life and you will have an afterlife, or you will reincarnate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you believe. Or maybe you are like George Bernard Shaw, that believe that once you're done, you're done, and there's nothing there left. It doesn't matter what you believe. Either if you believe there's nothing there after you die, even if you believe that there's just one life and there's an afterlife, or even if you believe that there are many lives and you live many times, the life that you have now is a miracle in itself. The fact that you are breathing now is a miracle. It's a chemical miracle. It's something that is fascinating, how your body is functioning, and you have a conscience to listen to me and to think. And just be aware that you're alive. That's a miracle in itself. It's impressive. And science has advanced everything that you want. We have given us all these fascinating tools and toys that we can use to communicate, and it's great. But we still don't know how does that conscience work. And it's a miracle. It's energy that you're doing now, and it's energy that you can, or you should, spend on being blissful. And that's something that I was talking earlier. I was talking about happiness, that I do not like to use the word happiness, but I prefer to use the word blissful, or bliss. And that's how I sign in my emails. Much love. Love is always necessary. We always need love. We need to hug. We need to kiss. We need to feel other people in all the ways possible. To feel that love, to love and be loved. That is something that we all need all the time. And we sometimes spend days, weeks, months without feeling that, without feeling love, and that is dying. That is dying, slowly dying. And the other is bliss. Bliss is a feeling that you can have perpetually. That is not like happiness, that it may come and go, and maybe at this moment you're happy, and at the other moment it's not that you're sad, but you're mad, couldn't care less. Oh, I need this. Sorry, I need this. Have you seen the Ballad of Buster Scruggs by the Coen Bros? The Coen Bros had a very, very peculiar way of feeling. Thanks, Patricia. I would love, Patricia, if you drop me an email. I would love to have you in my contacts so we can talk about movies. And anyone, if you want to send me an email, you can find me on description of this video. My email is absolutely open for you. And yes, this is a sacrifice. This is something that you have to make a sacrifice one for another, and you have to say, how can I feel bliss? Bliss, that BLISS. It's very, very complete feeling. In fact, I think that's that's a personal philosophy. I think all humans should aspire to be blissful. That's very important. But before being blissful, we should aspire to be free, authentically free, right? Or at least as free as we can. For example, we cannot be free if we are in a toxic relationship. We cannot be free if we live under a dictatorship, so to speak. We cannot be free if we are afraid of our boss or our job, or losing our job. We cannot be free in that way. We should aspire to be wealthy, right? Whatever that means for you. That is the most important thing. What it means for you to be wealthy. Okay, maybe someone wants to have 10 sports car on their garage, or another person can wealthy, they can travel all they want, or they can spend with their friends as much as they want, or they can spend with their family as much as they want. That could be wealthy, and I don't need really to work. I don't mind being a millionaire, but I want to do what I want. Maybe for me, it could be wealthy. It could be I could do with my time whatever I want. But the problem is in my case that I want to do so many things that even if I were like I had a lot of money, I would have a hard time deciding what to do with my time, and that would be, it would still be a struggle. Okay, but I will still be thinking and to do something else or do something beyond, or doing more and more, and that's a problem. And then the third one is feeling blissful, and one thing leads to another. You try to be free. Try your best to be free. You don't feel free in the country you are, you move. You don't feel free in your relationship, you move. You don't feel free in any way, you try to move. I understand that you cannot just cut with some things from one day to the next. For example, when you're trapped in a toxic workplace where you have no other option but you keep at it. But I can tell you that I've been for many dark places and many dark years, and that's why I tell you that I'm really lucky. This is a way that I found that I can have some freedom, so to speak, with a job or bringing value to the world, and you bring in value to me. For example, the way that I monetize my videos with YouTube, and I can attain some freedom. I could be wealthy in the sense that I always wanted to be a full nomad, a world nomad. Have, I don't know, like being an international spy, 7 passports, all the deals with this kind of movies. And in the end, that is what's gonna bring me bliss. And these are the 3 steps. This, I don't know if someone has already written about this triad: freedom, wealth, and bliss, but that just makes sense to me. We should always aspire these 3 things: be free, be wealthy, whatever it means to you. That's very important. Maybe what it means to me is not the same as you, and that's okay. And be blissful is the most personal feeling of all, because you will feel really complete in the midst of this struggle, a struggle that is not gonna end. The struggle, change, the waves, the turmoil, the problems, they are never going to end. There's not gonna be absolute, like the water's not gonna calm down completely, because it hasn't happened in millions of years in all of humanity, and it will never happen. And if it happens someday, we will all get really bored about that. So this is also the part that everything that I talk about is part of a system. It's like I always start with that hook, with the body language that is so fascinating. How to look at people, how to look at the body language, their behavior and everything. But it always ends with something more profound. There's not just like, how do I spot a narcissist on the street, and how do I know if that person is such and such? But the answer always boils down to an internal question, a question you make yourself, a journal you keep, a daily journal you keep with the answers, your very personal answers to those questions, answers that are gonna be so sincere that you will feel uncomfortable when you write them. And I say it again, I'm gonna repeat it again and again. It's not gonna be the last time I say it. If you are journaling and you do not feel uncomfortable of what you're putting in the paper, is that you're not being totally sincere. Maybe you're afraid that someone reads it. That's okay. Maybe you're afraid that you should not be feeling certain feelings because they're destructive, because that is forbidden. I don't know. That is wrong. There is no wrong. There is no wrong emotion because it's a journal. No one is gonna judge you. You're just gonna write what comes to your heart and your mind, whatever it is. No matter how strange, no matter how disturbing, no matter how off limits, no matter how ashamed you feel about that, no matter how guilty you feel about that, you're gonna pour it down. You have to let it come out. And of course, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. But the real deal is finding out why are you feeling this? Why do you feel so uncomfortable, and what can you do about it? And how the fuck would you know if you don't write it down first? And excuse me, the expletive, but there is no way. There's no other way. And you know that I sometimes use this kind of words because they're necessary. But sometimes these kind of actions are necessary. We need desperate actions to change whatever it is that you feel that is really not going the way that you feel. It's not like things go bad or go well. And gonna try to, oh my God, 2 hours and 20 minutes. What the? It's been a long one. Well, but I think, I don't know. Was thinking a few seconds ago. I lost it. I was going to tell you the most important thing about this. It was about talking about the journaling, about the pouring it down, and just about the time. But yes, it was the same topic. Sometimes I want to reinforce the topic that this kind of actions like journaling, like knowing yourself, knowing your own values. I have to do a whole series on values. That's the most important. People do not know their own values. There are like 100 values that we can have combinations for ourselves. And one thing is principles. We all should have the same principles, and we have the abide from the same principles that being like ethics, like work ethics, discipline, loyalty. Those are the principles. We have principles that make life be harmonious between us. Thanks, Cha, for your super sticker. Thanks a lot. There's also the topic of values that is really important, and people are really not aware of that. And most relationships fail because people like fall in love with a person that doesn't have an absolutely different set of values, and that is sad because people just do not know what's going on, what went wrong, and everything was so fine at first, but over the years it derails. It happens. So values had a lot of to do with that. It's impressive how okay, this is very good. I have been keeping a journal for just a few weeks. I started it after hearing your advice on here. I have had a change of life because of it. I'm starting teacher training on Monday as a result. That is amazing. I love that, Patricia. I love that you're making progress in your life. It's just journaling, the easiest thing in the world. It's never late, Christina. Welcome to the party. Well, I'm gonna be here a bit bit more minutes. I love just sharing my thoughts with you. And yeah, you know that, Veronica, that awesome minds things together. Common values and lack of it. We should do a shared topic on this. I'm gonna do a recorded video on that, on values. For example, a difference in values. A woman's values could be, hey, I want to make a lot of money. I want to make money with businesses, and maybe she falls in love with a man whose values is I don't know, being a musician and inspiring people through his music, and maybe he's a piano player, right? And maybe those values do not like collide with each other, but those sets of values of each one, the woman who wants to make money with the business, and the man who wants to play piano, concert pianist, they have different life goals, and maybe he has to go on tour, and she has to like create a transnational, or to go to other countries, and they have to travel to different countries, and maybe things don't work in the end because the different sets of values tends to set different life goals, and sadly it doesn't work. And it could work because maybe they have a lot of in common. They're not a toxic relationship, but just the fact that they have different sets of values that makes it impossible to work. So one of them will have to make too great of a sacrifice to make it work. That sacrifice will be even going against their own set of values, and that will be going against the first thing that we talk about, that is being free, being free to express your values, so to speak. And that's a lot to do with that. And that's why it's so important that we talk about narcissists. We talk about how to defeat or be shielded against them, and it's really important. It's really to get inside ourselves and know about ourselves. If, for example, I have the value of non-stop talking. Just kidding with that. But I could talk non-stop about this topic because I find it so fascinating. So fascinating. I always wonder how so many books have been written in human behavior, in psychology, studying so many relationships over decades, even hundreds of years. And if no one has come up with a master key for relationships or for life, it must mean something. It's because I can share with you what is my fragment of what I think is the truth, what I think is reality, and what I think could be a global theory that helps. It's like this. How is this called in science? Since they were the unifying theory, right? In science, there's something like that. I don't know if it's unified theory of physics. Unified field theory. All right, yes, I read that sometime. Unified field theory in particle physics, an attempt to describe all fundamental forces and the relationships between elementary particles in terms of a single theoretical framework. And yes, it always comes gravity and breaks everything down because gravity always breaks everything down. So what I'm always trying to do is try to have this unified theory of human behavior. And in fact, I've tried to build like a master key to human behavior, because I've been foolish enough to think that I could create a unifying theory of human behavior. And I told to myself, well, I have a little bit more than 40 years now. I guess I could live 40 years more. I think 4 years is a very comfortable time frame to come up with a unified theory of human behavior. But it's still a bit of a pipe dream. But I find it fascinating that no matter how many tips and books do we have, always the answer to each one of us is going to be totally tailor made. It's going to be something that is bespoke to each one of us. We have to like craft our own answer about it. A single theoretical framework. Yes, one framework that like whole that explains human behavior will be a little ambitious. How to unlock. If you have access to this like master key, it's like sort of having a master key to human behavior, then so you will have a master key to your own understanding of your own self and the self of other people, and that would be like absolute transparency, so to speak. Yes, it's a bit of a pipe dream, but I'm working on it. I'm pretty sure the governing class have their own master key to influence societal behavior. Yeah, the problem with influencing societal behavior is that you are implying that society is a single mass on undifferentiated people, and it doesn't work like that. There's only going to be factions popping up and popping down, and pseudo tribes appearing and disappearing all the time. And you will not be able to control them all. You could like control them at macro levels, like seeing that what we are going through, that the pandemic is some kind of control of the people. I think it's just a mess that really mess up the world with enhanced virus that should have been created in the first place. But trying to control the whole world, it will be proved to be a bit difficult, even if we think that we're being controlled by I don't know, YouTube, Google, Facebook, or whatever you wanted. Humanity will always find a way, like that quote from Jurassic Park. Humanity in this case will find a way to like break free from that. We always broken free from that chain. But what worries me more than anything is the way that sometimes you just have to respect the sets of values of some people. For example, I notice some countries that try to exploit the patriotism of its citizens, for example. And being patriotic, loving your country, is one value. As for me, aspiring nomad, my country is the world. The world's my home, and in fact, I would love to visit Mars. I would love to do that trip to Mars and come back. Of course, wouldn't like to stay there for long, but some countries try to exploit the value of patriotism its citizens, and exploit in a way that they become dependent on thanks to that exploiting. All right? I would like to think that there's a way that I can say, hey, it's not fair how your country is exploiting your patriotism. But the problem is that that patriotism is part of their own set of values, a set of values that I don't share because I don't feel that patriotic feeling towards any country. In fact, I love. It's like I love every country for its cultural differences and its richness of every country. I think every country has a lot to give. So there's so many ways to love so many countries that's my point of view. But that is my set of values, and I have to respect. Being respectful is a principle. It's different than a value. Being respectful of that difference would not let me like try to change others' minds, and that's important to make that difference. And that's a bit going a bit further, and that sometimes helps you set free at the same time that realize that you're not responsible of changing other people's minds because they're just not you. They're not you. You have the you should have the how to say that, the right to enforce your own set of values however you want. All right, you want to make money, then make money. You want to travel the world, travel the world. You want to I don't know, fight tuberculosis in southern Africa, well, go ahead with that. um, but that's the first part, and it's respecting each other's differences. And what's what does it have to do with the main control of the world? Is that there's so many different factions, and these factions, for example, we are at this moment we are more than 150 people reunited here, and we are all over the world talking and speaking and sharing this moment. And you can say we're being controlled and they're like recording. Yes, I'm recording this live. I'm gonna leave this live recorded in my channel. Anyone can come here and look at the whole, I don't know, 3 hours I will end up talking today. But it's like those differences and the way that we are here with absolutely no pressure, because I'm not pointing a gun at you. You're not here, and that's why I find it magical and really thankful that you are here just because you like to be sharing this space with me, and you're doing it on your own. You're free to do so. You're exercising your freedom at this very moment listening to me, and I'm exercising my freedom just taking all the time that I want. After that, those first 90 minutes talking about the topic, talking about other topics that I know that are going to affect you in the long run in a positive way. And I think that as long as we live in places that allow you to express those ideas, and that's important, that has to do a lot with what's happening in Afghanistan, then you should be able to realize yourself, to like upgrade yourself as human being. That's something that we should all always aspire to. In that limited time we have, in that limited minutes we have, in those sacrifices we have to make, even if we had all the money in the world, all the opportunities in the world, we would have to make sacrifices. How do we want to attain that bliss? Because it's like toys, no matter what they are, they get old pretty quickly. We want to make sure that what we are doing fulfills us. This has to do with everything human behavior. This has to do everything with psychopath, with narcissists. How do we survive toxic relationships? How do we survive toxic lives? How do we realize that our life is a beautiful struggle, and life has the struggle attached and we cannot do anything about it, but we have the option of making that struggle beautiful if we are true to ourselves, to how do we feel about things and how do we process emotions. It's everything. It's a beautiful system that it's out there. It's perfectly outlined, and we sometimes are so afraid of breaking up with the line of thoughts that we have learned since we were born. All right? Okay, there's an interesting question here. I can't stop thinking about being the idealized version that the narcissist snapshot of me. So the narcissist see what he missed. So I'm thinking like this. It's really important to think like that, LD, because you have a better understanding of the whole process, that what went in the narcissist's head, what went inside your head, and how that interaction went. It went bad, and I'm sorry for that. But it's a way that you understand how can you be better armed in that skill for any next relationship. Okay, I don't know if that answers your questions. Anyway, if you want to elaborate on this, again, there's my email and in the description of this video. You're absolutely free of reaching out to me and sending me an email. I'd like to take some time to read your comments. I should have some music playing in the background. I promise. I can't promise that, but I really don't know how to loop music here. It should be easy, but I could find some music to play in the background, some soft music to have a little background. It will be help a lot. Not the analysis music, creepy analysis music of my videos. No, something a bit softer. Patricia, I already told you. Please send me an email. Send me all those recommendations. I'm always watching. I'm literally watching movies all day. I'm writing and watching movies. I'm editing and watching movies. And sometimes I'm sleeping and watching movies. And I really watch them over and over again. Have this way of enjoying them. Send all that to me. My God, good morning from Australia. Vanessa Carroll. Hello, Vanessa, good morning. We've been here for a while. Something that sometimes I feel bad. I would like I have so many very beautiful friends in Australia and Indonesia that sometimes I make lives in the middle of plain morning here, so you will have a better time. So it's your night and you'll be an easier time. Oh, that is great. This is great, Marisa. Thank you. You won. You won the internet today. You won the internet today. I have to say that. Borders were only created to divide people. We are all from this earth and will not take anything when we leave this place. Let's be kinder and more compassionate to ourselves and others. Thank you. That is a magnificent comment. That is the comment of the day. Thanks a lot. Yes, this is something how Kirsty says. What experience? I don't think I will ever understand how a narc or sociopath works. Their twisted way of thinking and revenge, or what their eventual goal is, mind-boggling. Well, this is a story. This is something. There's so many stories that, for example, I say that I want to create a master key for human behavior, but no master key will be able to describe sociopathic behavior or psychopathic behavior, because it's so erratic that I don't know. It would have to be with big data and artificial intelligence to have a human behavior model that could predict how people act, and that will be something interesting. But I don't think it will be possible, because the level of destruction of a sociopath or a psychopath is immense. It's I have this anecdote that I heard in an interview with Dr. Ramani. You should really know her. Very interesting anecdote that I think that she was she was not given the anecdote. She was hearing it about a girl that she had this relationship with a guy that did not work out after a few weeks, and then like a few months later, the guy came back to her and began doing everything perfect, like to a T, like everything that she wanted in the first place. And it went like a full year. That second chance went for a full year. Everything was magnificent. It was like daydreaming for her. And in the anniversary, he just dumped her and said, all this was just a farce, and all this was just to break your heart to pieces. I just wanted to do this to break your heart. And that's this psychopath level fucked up thing. That is something that psychopaths do, that they plan for months or even years to hurt you in ways that you even don't believe that it could happen. And it's impressive, all the damage that you could sustain from them. And the most important thing from all that we have talked today, I want you to put in apply everything that we have talked today, and especially set your own boundaries. How do you set your boundaries with people? What you allow them to do, what you allow them to do to you, to mean to you, and to share with them. That there's something that you should be aware of that. And that would be a great topic for another live. And I'm really, really grateful that being almost 3 hours here and we're still talking. And I could be talking like one more hour. Sometimes I thought that when I reach 1 million subscribers, I will do a 12-hour Q&A to see if I can, just to see if I can. Never underestimate an art. Well, yes, that's it. I will be. Saying goodbye is always hard, especially with such a beautiful audience and such a dedicated audience. This is impressive. I couldn't even imagine 150 people right now in the same place, but it is great. It's great to have you here, and even a better feeling to know that you're interested in living a better life. That is blissful to me, and that is something that I really could dedicate my life to try to carve a path all together. That's something that we could do, and this space has been perfect for that. And I think we should be doing this a lot more times. Well, if you want to support my channel, remember that there's a link to my Patreon. I'm reactivating my social media. I'm still not visiting Twitter that much. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, if you want to send me a message on Instagram, well, you can do so. My Instagram is the Battle Language Guy. Instagram.com, the Battle Language Guy, or just search me on Instagram. I would like I know that you like YouTube. We're here in YouTube. We met here in YouTube, and you love YouTube. But I want to make sure that whatever happens, we have other means to connect. You can download my 100 body language tips that is in the description, and that way you can be subscribed to our emails, and we can be connected through that. You can follow me on Facebook too. It's Facebook, the Body Language Guy. And finally on Twitch, I hope that's another thing that I would like to do. I like to draw. I like to play guitar. I like to play video games. I say this time I'm gonna do a live of just 90 minutes. Just 90 minutes, Jesus. Just 90 minutes. But never. I cannot do that. I just stay here. There's no bail, no barrier, no limit. I could be still talking. You want still listening. I could do this all day, just like Captain America. But thanks, Veronica. Thanks a lot. You're the champion of the live video marathon today. I know someday I'm gonna do a 12-hour live. I know that. Oh well, that would be insane. I will do it. And yes, there's so many ways, and Instagram and Facebook and Twitch, by email. Yes, those are the ones that you can contact me. And of course, if you have any questions, just reach out to my email. And if you haven't subscribed yet to my YouTube, just go ahead and subscribe and like this video. Just a click away, and that helps me a lot with the algorithm gods, and that helps me a lot to sustain this lifestyle of making recorded videos in the day and making lives in the evening. Yes, I could do this for a very long time, talking about this topic, sharing with you this space, and really, really lucky and really, really thankful of having you here in this space. Really, really, I don't have the words. Well, this is goodbye for tonight, my beautiful body language buddies. And my name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And until we meet again, wherever the wind takes us, to any shore or any mountain, or in the next live, the next recorded video, or maybe in an email, if you reach out to me, I'll be glad to answer you. Have a beautiful evening. Take care, and a lot of love and bliss. Bye-bye.